If I showed you Terrence Malick's most recent film, Song to Song, alongside his debut film Badlands, shot 44 years earlier, they would seem dramatically different. Much of what seems to make up the look and feel of Malick's newer work is the unique cinematography developed in collaboration with Emmanuel Lubezki, Malick's director of photography since The New World. The free-flowing cinematography fits the non-traditional approach to narrative, and it's one of the most interesting, most expressive uses of wide-angle lenses I've ever seen in film. But if we look closely at Badlands and everything that follows, we'll find many clues that will help us uncover what motivates the stories Malick chooses to tell and how he chooses to tell them. The Directors Before series is sponsored by Mubi. Go to mubi.com/ThomasFlight to get your free trial today. Badlands is an impressive debut film. Malick has a clear artistic vision from the very start. Badlands tells the story of 25-year-old Kit's killing spree and 15-year-old Holly as she unquestioningly accompanies him.
Little did I realize that what began in the alleys and backways of this quiet town would end in the Badlands of Montana.
From the very start, we can see a unique approach to story forming.
What's your name? I said mine.
Holly?
Where are you from?
Chicago.
What's your name?
I think perhaps the most significant element of Malick's style is his focus on the interior landscape of the characters. His films concern themselves with what the characters are thinking and feeling. This comes before any consideration of specific plot details. I think his entire approach to filmmaking is structured around communicating that internal landscape. One of the tools he uses to do that, one that features as an important part of Badlands and every one of his films since then, is voiceover.
The world was like a faraway planet to which I could never return. I thought what a fine place it was, full of things that people can look into and enjoy.
You're only on this earth once. And to my opinion, as long as you're around, you should have it nice.
Can't nothing make you forget it. Each time you start from scratch.
What voice is this that speaks within me? When did you first touch my heart?
That's sweet love.
They guide you on your way.
I tried to be kind. It only made me colder.
While use of voiceover in film is often criticized as a crutch for bad writing, Malick's use of voiceover serves to accompany more than to restate plot. Characters are often musing or observing, and you get the feeling that the voiceover is almost more for the character than it is for the audience. Malick's approach to voiceover is similar to his approach to cinematography. He's there to observe, not construct. This interior landscape is naturally subjective, and it's reinforced by the perspective of the narrative. Malick stays with the characters that the story focuses on, rarely zooming out to a broader perspective to inform the audience. The audience gets to know what the characters know or care about and do, but not much more. You're there with them, and rarely do we even get a wide shot or an establishing shot to ground the character within the world. Rather, the focus is on the character's subjective experience of the environment around them. The one time in Badlands where we do get a bird's eye view perspective of what's happening away from the protagonists, it's cast in an oddly stylized black and white montage, almost as if we're seeing from Holly's perspective in the future, how she imagined things happened in the past. And this subjectivity is I think what leads to Malick's emphasis on nature and environment as a part of the storytelling. This will become a much heavier focus and play a larger role in later films, but it's very present in Badlands. The film's title itself speaks to this approach to filmmaking. After the character's experience, the environment is the next focus, again taking priority over plot and narrative. The films don't emphasize locations, rather they try to exist within a larger environment.
That's Montana over there.
Instead of interior coffee shop day, we get open skies, flowing rivers, and vast landscapes of skyscrapers. And this environment is one that includes animal life. Malick's inclusion of and focus on the animals that incidentally surround his characters is very unique in the narrative film world. I think the inclusion of these seemingly irrelevant details is part of what creates the immediacy and subjectivity of the perspective. In our lives, in the present, we often don't yet know which details are relevant to our story. It's only in hindsight that we can exclude everything extraneous to the story we'd like to tell. Malick often handles what plot does exist in a very loose sense. Plot only exists in his films primarily as an accessory to the character's journey. While Badlands is perhaps his most plot-heavy film, we still catch a glimpse of how Malick will work in the future, in how he treats the plot in Badlands. One of those glimpses is how he shows story through montage. Instead of a traditional scene structure, we get sections where he uses a montage of moments along with music and voiceover. He continues to expand his use of this technique throughout his career, with some of his later films existing almost entirely in this mode. Besides a change in cinematography, the other change in Malick's style that led to where he is now is in the editing. It won't be until The New World that we'll see the type of scenes that represent what I think of now when I think of Malick's work.
Greed, envy, slander, and forgiveness have never been heard. They have no jealousy, no sense of possession.
But all the ingredients for scenes like that one, music, voiceover, and montage, are present in his earlier films and in Badlands.
I grew to love the forest. The cooing of the doves and the hum of dragonflies in the air made it always seem lonesome and like everybody's dead and gone. When the leaves rustled overhead, it was like the spirits were whispering about all the little things that bothered them.
It would just take some additional experimentation and freedom in the editing room to bring it to its fullest form. Finally, in Badlands, we can see Malick's preference for naturalistic lighting. Badlands features many scenes shot during golden hour, the hours surrounding sunrise and sunset, and he will go on to shoot some of his later films almost entirely during this time of day. With Badlands, Malick showed an immediate competence and a grasp of more conventional filmmaking. His career since then has become progressively more experimental. Like Wes Anderson, the first director I talked about in this series, Terrence Malick is a great example of how small elements of a director's style can evolve into something more pronounced and obvious throughout their career. But also like Wes, we can see how the more fundamental elements of what motivates Malick's style were present even before the obvious visual characteristics emerged. This series is made possible by Mubi. Mubi.com is a cinema streaming and download service. They have 30 movies streaming at a time. Every day one is added and one is taken away. Mubi's strength is in its curation. It gets me to watch a lot of interesting international and indie films that I wouldn't have found otherwise. If you're a fan of Malick's films, Mubi will definitely have some things to watch that are right up your alley. I could keep trying to convince you why Mubi is great, but you really have no excuse not to see for yourself. You can try Mubi for free for 30 days at mubi.com/ThomasFlight. That's mubi.com/ThomasFlight for your extended free trial. Thanks so much for watching. I'll link to the other videos in this series on the top. I also want to thank Tom from Like Stories of Old for the notes he gave me on this video. He's made some other great videos about Terrence Malick, so I'll link to a playlist of his and my videos about Malick on the bottom. Also, thank you to my patrons. Go to patreon.com/ThomasFlight for more information on how to become one. I'll see you again next time.